Hi, this is Mike Deers, Regional Missionary Coordinator, Presbytery of Ohio. This is the December 2024 video update of the home missions in the Presbytery of Ohio. Today, we're talking with Brad Peppo, and Brad is going to be going on an adventure for the next 18 months and just share with the churches what, as much as you can, what God has you up to in this unique season.
Okay. All right. And perhaps I can start by talking about the origin of it. I have a friendship with the regional home missionary in the Presbytery of Southern California, Chris Hartshorn. And years ago, I made the mistake of letting Chris know how attached I was to Arizona. Had a good experience there when I was a youngster and really wanted to live there. And so every year or so, he would say, "Hey, I've got an Arizona project for you," and everything that he was presenting wasn't fitting what was going on at home. But this not this past November, but the November before, he suggested a tour of duty in Flagstaff, where the Presbytery is interested in seeing a church planted eventually. Flagstaff is it is the largest city in the northern half of Arizona. It's about 76,000 people. And so we started working on some ideas for that. The denominational support, we talked to that committee. That support will follow me over there. And then we have the Prescott Orthodox Presbyterian Church will be providing the balance of my support. So I'm working in coordination with Chris and in coordination with Charlie Perkins and the session at Prescott. And over the past year, we've narrowed it down a bit. I am planning presently to spend most of my first 3 months in an area called the Verde Valley. It's just to the south of Flagstaff. And the main cities there are Cottonwood and Sedona. Sedona is fairly well known. And Camp Verde. There's also some smaller communities, Cornville, Jerome. And what I'm planning to do is spend 3 days a week there, and then a couple days a week up in Flagstaff. There's another NAPARC church up in Flagstaff, and I have met with that pastor, and we have talked about different ways that the things that I'm doing there can assist that church and help that church, while at the same time laying a foundation for a future mission work, a second NAPARC work there in the city. So we're still talking through some of the ideas of what that will look like. The third thing I would say is I've also for a time had an interest just in exploring the possibility of some Native American ministry up there. There is a Bible college in Flagstaff that serves Indigenous students in particular. When I was out there for a scouting trip last month, I spent some time there, and I don't know exactly what the possibilities or opportunities are there, but it's something that I'm pressing into and exploring a bit more. In addition to, I have a hope of visiting a number of the reservations on a regular basis while I'm out there. Again, the first, I would say 3 to 6 months of this will be primarily exploratory. What I'll be looking for in particular in those places is I'll be trying to network and make relationships and meet people along the way. The primary sort of engine of outreach I have in mind is something that I've noticed a number of people doing, and I kind of had the idea in embryonic form a while back, and it's developed a bit. But faith interviews, faith or philosophy interviews, where I find out where people are congregating, where people seem to have a bit of free time in each of those places. I approach them. I let them know that I'm working for the Prescott Church, that I'm doing some faith interviews, and see if I can engage people that way. I've been working for a long time on the list of questions and the flow of the questions. And the primary, or I should say the initial fruit that I would be hoping for in that is, first of all, getting those things going and having those conversations. But secondly, looking for people who would be interested in talking about those topics in a little more detail. And so providing studies. Similar to some things I've done in some other contexts with students from free thought groups or just other atheist organizations. But this would be open. I would be trying to put something together that was general enough that Christians could come and participate in the studies, non-Christians, and just kind of an exploration of the overall scope of the Christian faith and the biblical story. I really would like to sort of have a biblical theological sort of focus and scope and sequence in what I'm doing. And then obviously the end goal for those studies as well is hopefully to see people come to Christ and then see potential mission works pop up in some of those places. So I will be actually living in my truck camper for the first number of months, driving from place to place. Part of the reason for the initial stay in the Verde Valley is it's about 15 degrees warmer in the Verde Valley than it is in Flagstaff. Flagstaff, the temperature gets pretty low, especially at night, and the low temperatures actually just shut down a lot of the public interaction in Flagstaff. There just aren't a lot of people out doing a lot of things. So I was going to spend some of my earlier time in the warmer places, and then as it thaws and as it warms up, I'm heading up and spending a little more time in Flagstaff. One last thing that I hope to do when I'm out there is I'd like to make myself available for pulpit supply to the other OPC churches around the state, and deepen my relationships with some of those guys and network with them. And oftentimes, you've got people in one church in one area of the state who actually know people up in the other area of the state. So that's the overall scope at this point of what we're looking at. I leave in a little over 3 weeks from today for that.
Very good. Well, you kind of covered all the bases. It's pretty comprehensive, and I understand. I get it. It's still a work in progress, as it were, because of see where it goes. I love the faith conversations. I know you've done well with that, with the campus ministry things you've been involved with in the past. So let's wrap up. Just how can the churches pray for you over these next 18 months? Are you going to be producing a newsletter? Any way to communicate back so that the presbytery can keep in touch?
Just follow me on Facebook.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, we'll put your
that's a
Facebook
good
link. That's
idea.
probably a
Putting
good
something
idea.
together.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have reports that I'll be sending back for Light of the Nations, which continues to be my calling body. But I think it would be a good idea to put something like that into a more generally interesting form to folks. As far as prayer is concerned, I was talking about this with somebody recently. I am perfectly comfortable being in even hostile environments where it's clear what we're doing. It's clear that I'm the minister there with the Christian perspective, and they're there with the unbelieving perspective, and having these conversations. Perfectly comfortable with that. Where I feel like I lack the boldness that I really am going to need for this project in particular is and just initiating fresh contact with people in a more casual way. I'm much less afraid of the room full of atheists than I am of the woman shopping next to me at the grocery store and starting a conversation. So that's where I really feel like this, in order for this to work and be successful, I'm going to have to really enjoy a measure of God's grace and initial conversations and contact with people. I'll just say in wrapping up too, one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I feel like we're as a denomination, we're very, very strong in responding to interest that is expressed by groups that want to become mission works. We're very responsive to people that want to form Bible studies and that sort of thing. I think we do a good job with that. I know there are other guys out there that are doing a better job at this, but I don't feel like I have a full handle on how to just start from nothing, just to go into a place with nothing, meet people, start from there. So that's part of what I'm hoping to pursue in this trip is refining my skills at just doing that from zero and meeting people and going from there. So pray that I'm able to connect with people, and obviously pray that people are receptive to the gospel, and pray that there would be at least mission works that would begin out of these 18 months that I plan on spending out there.
Very good. Yeah. And maybe once you've learned all this, you can come back and help us in this. You're right. It's learning to connect with a person, not just a group of people. And
yeah.
Because typically with a group of people, you kind of know where they're coming from. And with a person that's in line at the grocery store, you have no clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
I hope so.
Very good. Well, thank you, Brad.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for your prayers.
Yep.